Hey Google, I'm hungry.
That's okay. I'm full of information.
What is up, Internet world, and welcome back to Accelerate. My name is Mike, and the man behind the camera is Ian, and today we're bringing the 2023 GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate. Now, when you think about the word Denali, you think about the Yukon Denali, not necessarily this, the Sierra Denali Ultimate. Now, the Denali was launched in 1999 with the Yukon, but then 2 years later in 2001, they put the Denali nameplate on this, the Sierra, their half-ton pickup truck. Now, 23 years later, the Denali nameplate accounts for almost 50% of all GMC sales. And when you take the Sierra into account, it's 40% Denalis sold, which is kind of crazy. So today I bring you this, the Denali Ultimate, the highest level package you can buy when you buy a Sierra, which is nuts because we've already reviewed two of them, and this will be our third. So why bring the same truck back for a third time? But there are updates, the interior mainly, and then the outside. So let's get into it. We are in the 2023 Sierra Denali Ultimate with, you guessed it, a 6.2 liter that makes 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. This engine is pretty much in every single baller GM we've driven. So I'm very used to it, but we're gonna get the draggy out for this one. We're gonna see how fast this thing is with two-wheel drive rear power. Let's go. Foot to the ground, traction control on, and let's go. Some slippage. Ooh. Come on, come on. 6.49 to 60 miles an hour. And that is in two-wheel drive with traction control on. All right, so for another dump test in the history of dump tests, let's put this thing in four-wheel drive high, stability program off, build a bit of power, and whoa, oh wow, this might actually be faster. Okay, stability program off, 4 high, foot to the ground, and let's see if we can do this. Go. Oh wow, this is definitely going faster. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 5.57. What? Come on. 5.57? That just woke me up. Imagine you were launching this big event. You had 100 people there. You spent all this time to study, learn, film, do all these things. And when they showed up, all 100 of them, only 6 paid attention. Everybody else was sleeping. Yep, that's exactly what happens to us. Only 6% of you actually subscribe, which is a crazy number, which makes us think, people don't really like us. And that's cool, but we expect half of you guys to not like us. So the other half, the other 44% of you, please smash that subscribe button, give us your love. And the other 50%, well, you can go away. Now, if we start with the headlights, I like how they're squared off and they have a straight horizontal piece here. They're not really seed or they're tied together. It's sort of a flat piece here and then it curves out sort of like a golf club. And of course you have this massive grille with a camera built in and a black GMC logo. But what's kind of unique though, or strange really, is the fact that down here it's chrome and not Vader Chrome. It's weird how they would have a darker color up here and then straight up chrome down there. Whoever made that decision obviously wasn't thinking. Onto the side. How crazy is this? Where is the Vader Chrome? Huh? Where is the Vader Chrome? You got the Vader Chrome on the front, you got a little piece over here, but then you have chrome everywhere. Look at this little chicken nugget here. It says Sierra right on the lens of the headlight. You got the 22-inch wheels, which I really, really like. It's a nice touch, nice finished. It's a really good quality. Generally, domestic trucks don't have good quality wheels, but I will say this is probably the best style, quality, fit and finish wheel I've seen on GM, especially when it comes to their trucks. Again, you have the cameras everywhere. This thing's got cameras all the way around. I'll talk about it in the trunk, but you have side cameras. You obviously have a ton of chrome. Now people ask, why are these step bars skinnier than the Ram? You see, the Ram are a little bit wider, and that's because this has Super Cruise and there's sensors underneath, so they're skinnier. Now they have this weird noise when you get in and out, and also when you drive it, it feels like you get this thunk when you're inside the vehicle, and I do not get that in my Ram. I'm just being honest for all my GM boys. When you open and close the door and you sit inside, those things don't make any noise. This thing does, but you gain something. You gain this thing right here. This thing here is magnificent. I can just put my leg in here and I can jump inside the bed. As opposed to Ford, I gotta put the tailgate down, I gotta press a bunch of buttons, I gotta pull this little wheelchair accessible thing up, I gotta get in. Too much work. And the Ram, well, you don't have anything like that. So what can I say? You win. Because I drive a 2022 Ram, I can tell you when the keys are in my pocket and my hands are full of stuff, I get out of Home Depot, I want to put stuff inside the cabin. Unfortunately, in this, I have to press the button, it unlocks all the doors, but you see in the Ram, I can just walk up, touch the handle, and pull it. But in this one, when the car or truck is locked, it doesn't do that, which is kind of annoying. Like, it doesn't cost any more money to put one of these little thingamajiggies on these little majiggies, so you can just walk there and unlock it. The back door is important to get into, especially in a truck. My bad. I wasn't talking bad about you, my bad. Now in terms of aesthetics, I really do believe the Sierra is at the top of the food chain now because it has this Tonka style design and all the black pieces. It just looks more meaty, more aggressive. They've really cleaned it up. Now I used to believe that the Ram Sport was at the top of the list. The Ford, not really. I felt like the Ford was always on the bottom aesthetically speaking. This is sort of in the middle, but now with all these updates they've done, I do believe when you look at it from an outsider's perspective, someone that's lived all over the world, I can tell you that people love American trucks, and this is basically the stamp of approval. Now as I walk by this Denali with adaptive ride control, I will tell you that you can tow up to 8,900 pounds with this engine, the 6.2 liter V8, or up to 13,000 pounds with the diesel, which is crazy. Now what about putting stuff inside the bed? Now you don't get the carbon bed, but you do get something a little bit smaller than 6 feet, actually almost 70 inches worth of length. So it's not available in the long bed, just this short bed. But you do get the MultiPro tailgate. Now we've reviewed this tailgate many, many times, but I will show you for those that haven't watched any of our previous videos. You get two little buttons here and a whole bunch of cameras. Now the top button does this. It actually just opens up the top section of this tailgate. So this little ledge, and then of course if you have something longer, that is why it's available in the short bed. You can actually do one of these, and then you can put a 2x4 and it can hold against the back. Now there's another thing this thing does, and is when I push this up, the button underneath it drops the whole tailgate. And when you do that, this is your typical tailgate. It is not powered up, it's just simply hit the button, it'll drop. Now when I do this, I push this here, I actually can do the same thing. I do have another 2x4 I can put down here. As opposed to being higher, it just sits flat on the bed. But there's something else. Come on. There's the button. When I hit this button again, guess what happens? This thing drops. And when it drops, I have this extra button I push down and it does a step. But not only that, I do have kicker audio that can connect with Bluetooth, auxiliary, and USB. And then I have this sort of tailgate party vibe I can jam on the back of my Sierra Denali Ultimate. Now they do have the same thing that Ford does. You can basically pull this up and then you can get in and out, except Ford is right here. It comes out, it does one of these, and you gotta hold it. With this one, you've got to put your foot step up, your first step up, my bad. Do one of these, and then you're inside, sitting on the toilet. Something unique about GM products, and I'm not a sales guy of GM, but I will say that this truck and all the other Sierras we've reviewed in the past have something unique about them. So let's say the front mirrors, they have lights, and you press a button and the lights on the front mirrors come on. You have a button, then all these lights inside the bed, especially the ones up top, are really bright at night, and it's just hit a button to do it. Now on the back here, same thing, you got this tailgate, sort of funky. Even when you're towing, you have two separate little inputs for cameras for your trailer. For your front camera in your trailer and your rear camera in your trailer, just by these little hooks over here, and you plug them in and then it activates those cameras. So it's just sort of like one step above. It's really like designed for like a camping style vibe, or somebody that really uses their truck for everything and wants to have accessibility on everything they use in their truck. Now this doesn't have something that the Ford does, which is where you can plug in stuff, and like the Ford has this like Power Pro thing where you can plug in lots of different circuits so you can power a whole house and all that fun jazz. This thing doesn't have it. Obviously this is a V8, 6.2 liter, monster, gas guzzling beast. But they're coming with an electric one, I'm sure. Ready, Ian? The coolest part of this truck, I kid you not, is when I get in and out of it, when I shut it off and I get out, and when I turn it on, when I get back in, guess what happens? The music continues to play on Sirius XM, the exact same chord of sound when I get out of it. And that is amazing, because if you're singing a song and you get out and you get back in, you can continue to sing. That is dope. Now, of course, all the digital stuff is fancy. You've got 12.3 over here, you've got 13.4 over here. But this screen now is amazing. It's clean, it's easy to use, and yes, it does have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, but it's just so big and easy to use. They have heated seats, air conditioning seats. They're 16-way adjustable, but not only are they regular heated, you have heated in your back and heated in your back and your booty. You also have heated steering wheel that comes on really, really fast. And even though it does have Super Cruise up here, it doesn't really bother you when you turn. It doesn't bother you when you look at it. It's just sort of integrated really well. It has this massive engine start and stop button that's super easy to use. You don't have to look anywhere else. It's not a button here. It's just right there. It's chrome. I smash it. And it's kind of weird because even though this is a truck, it has a really, really high dash. It has the highest dash in any truck. And it's kind of weird because I took my mom out yesterday for a drive and she said this thing feels just bigger than the Ram. It's because the dash is higher and the screen and the windshield is a little bit tighter. That's why it makes this 15-inch heads-up display really big when you're driving it. And the way they've done this 13.4-inch screen, it's sort of half on the fence integrated and half on the fence just kind of sitting there, but it's clean and nice and I do like it. If I look to the right, you do have your glove box. When I push this button, this opens up. And then again, you see the etching here for the Denali Mountains. And underneath your HVAC controls, the first button you have is keeping you in your lane. You hit that button, it keeps you in your lane. Those are your parking sensors on or off. You have your automatic start and stop. Then you have this little button here, that is to drop the tailgate. Then of course your four-ways, stability program, and then hill descent speed. And then this button here makes all the windows go down by hitting it once. And moving below this long length of buttons, you do have some storage down here. You do have USB, USB-C, 2 cup holders, and then this little small compartment where you can put individual coins. You do have your trailer brakes and of course your shifter. It doesn't have Tiptronic or any sort of shifting ability down here. It just has reverse neutral drive and then low gear, but the paddles are right here. And just like the Ram, you do have 2 other buttons per side that adjust the volume and changing the channel or whatever. But the most important piece here is wireless charging. And the reason why this is important is because phones are getting larger and this slot is not big enough. Watch, I put my phone right here and it charges, but just barely. It's gotta be in the right position. I gotta push it down a little bit more for it to be in the charging mode. Now you do have more, this topography right here, as I mentioned earlier. And as far as storage down here, you've got a ton, 2 more USB and USB-Cs, and then a full-out 3-prong plug right there. So if we take a quick dive into this Google-based screen, it has the most up-to-date tech when it comes to Google. You do have this little button up here, and that's when you can ask Google anything you'd like. Hey Google, I'm hungry.
That's okay. I'm full of information.
What is interesting though is the home button is right at the bottom, which is unique. Most of the time it's at the top, and I do like it because you can hit it. It's closest to where my hand would be from the shifter. I just simply put my hand up, I touch the home button, and it goes to this sort of screen. So I have your audio, maps, phone, cameras, Google Assistant, Play Store, and Apple CarPlay. I do slide over and I do have trailering, which is a really big deal when it comes to this GM Sierra, and then climate, settings, Wi-Fi hotspot, and then the rest of it. But the cool thing on the right side here is I do have widgets, so I can set up different things on the right here, 4 different items. Google, in this specific case, your radio, trailering, and then of course this nice fancy Bugatti clock. So I was told that the wood in this Sierra Denali Ultimate is called Paldeo wood, and it's from Southeast Asia. Let's do the sniff test. Sure. Now, if you are a fan of having brown interior, this is the truck for you. Brown, brown everywhere. But it's not just regular brown, it's brown with the topography of what?
Mount Denali.
Yeah, it's brown with the topography of Mount Denali. It's in the seats, it's in the dash, it's pretty much everywhere you look. They even have it in the center console here on rubber. So they've done rubber, wood, and leather in this sort of pattern. I really like it, it's nice. Not a huge fan of brown, but it's something different. And Denali's always kind of been brown, sort of old man vibe. That's true. But the quality's really good here in the back. It feels good. There are some weird things about it. It's strange how it doesn't have a rear climate control. There's no HVAC at all. There's heated seats, left and right. There is a USB-C, a USB, and 2 vents. This does not come back like the Yukon. It's just fixed. And there is no panoramic sunroof. But the craziest part about this is there's no panoramic sunroof, but there's a legitimate cutout for what appears to be a sunroof. Now they do have suede and Alcantara on the roof headliner, so it does feel really good quality. They do obviously have LEDs. There's nothing here that has halogen. Everything is white and bright. Now if I focus back on these brown seats, there is a bit of complaining because this is baseball stitching. Now it's different than baseball optic stitching, which is what Audi has. That has more of a lip, like in the older Audi TTs. This is sort of flat, but people complain about it. They're not really a big fan of it. But listen, the Denalis have always been kind of brown. In this one, you can't get it in black. Brown interior is the only one you can get. And that's kind of strange, but hey, it is what it is. It's just more strange they don't have HVAC controls in the back, to be honest. That's crazy. And also doesn't have automatic windows in the back. You have to actually hold them the whole way down and hold them the whole way up for them to go up and down. It does have 12-speaker Bose sound system, and when I pull this bad boy down, I do have 2 big cup holders and a little compartment in the middle that does not fit my cell phone straight. I have to go sideways, and it does one of these things. So yep, that's what's up. There is a hidden compartment though in the back of these seats, which is sort of unique to the GMC Sierra, and this is it. I just pull this little handle, and there is compartments you put in the back there. So that's where you store all your goodies.
All right guys, so here we are on the highway. We're gonna use Super Cruise. Pretty simple, just turn on cruise control. I'm gonna do that first. So I'm at my speed that I want, and then I'm just gonna hit the steering wheel button beside it, which turns on Super Cruise. You get the green light, and here we go. Steering for me. So this keeps you in the lane really well. There's no issue. All right, we're gonna try a lane change here. So all I do is hit this, and then it says auto lane change. No hands, and it's changing lanes. It's pretty crazy. Anyways, I'm gonna go back into that lane on a turn. Let's see if it does this. Oh, that's pretty wild. Nice. That's dope. That's dope.
All right, GMC Denali Ultimate, how do I feel about you in 2023? Because the last time I had you was in 2021, and you're updated a little bit more. As far as ride goes, I still believe GM is the hardest of the rides when you compare the Ram and you compare the Fords. Fords is definitely the softest. It feels very light. You feel like you get tossed around. This is very substantial. It feels heavy on the road. It feels like a real man's truck. Whereas if you compare it to the Ram is sort of in the middle of the two. It's a little bit softer than this. You don't feel all the bumps like you do in this. This feels more bulky, more heavy duty. I've always said that about the GMs. The Rams feel more luxurious, and the Fords just feel kind of cheap inside, in my opinion. The doors on the Ford, like the plastic when you hold it, is really, really cheap, no matter how expensive you get in terms of a trim level. So when I reviewed the 2021 Denali, it was the same thing. I really liked how firm, solid, and heavy duty it felt, but the interior was just poop, poop, and more poop. And now they've updated. We have a big screen, we have digital display here, the HVAC has been reconfigured. It's finally there. So I'm happy about all those pieces. I'm happy the way it looks on the outside. It's rugged. I like the way it looks on the inside. It's finally up to date, and now it can finally compete against its competitors. So I would probably take this now over the F-150, whereas in the past I would take the F-150 over this. But the Ram is a tricky one because the price point of the Rams are so good. But I kind of understand why GM took so long to do all this, is because of reliability. They didn't want to be the first to put things out there to say, hey, I want to put tech in our cars, and if it fails, all the diehard GM people are going to complain about it. So they had to wait until society pushed them to do it. And now they finally have done it. And it's an easy system to use. Everything's just in the right places. So I'm happy with this GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate. The thing I do like about it though is this rear view mirror camera. Now some people don't like it because of the depth when you look at this camera in comparison to just actually flipping it down and seeing it without it. You can see it wider. This looks a little bit more fake. But if you look at it over and over and over, you sort of get used to it, and then you can't live without it. So I'm happy they put that in there. I like it. And like all other GMs, when they have the heads-up display, it is literally the largest heads-up display you will get in any vehicle. It's so massive that the 87 kilometers an hour is like this big. It covers up pretty much the whole screen, and it's clean and nice, and there's really not too much to pick on it now that they've undated it besides the sound of my voice. It's all creakly and crackly. I'm surprised you're even getting this far in the video, so thank you for that. So I hope you guys like this review on this 2023 Sierra Denali Ultimate. Now again, we've reviewed this twice, in the AT4 and the Denali, so there's not really too much to talk about in terms of drive because I've done it already like 1,500,000 times, along with using this motor in another 1,500,000 vehicles that we've reviewed. So there's not really too much to talk about except for the differences between the Denali and this. But I will say, if you're going to spend this kind of money, you're probably going to lease it. If you're going to spend this kind of money, it's because you've had really good luck on past GM Sierras. And I will say you can't go wrong. They've modernized it, and it's probably a good choice if you like the look on the outside and the brown on the inside. We'll catch you on the next one.